Hello everybody, this is Michelle Fox and welcome back to The Simple Quilter. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these portable design boards. Some of you have asked if I could show how to make those, so that's today's topic. I do want to take a minute to show you the panel behind me. This is a new panel. I don't think I've shown you this before, but this is a Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse panel, and my husband and I have always really enjoyed going to Walt Disney World, and we really like Disney, so I thought this panel was just awesome. So I'm going to step aside so you can see it. Now, is that cute or what? That has to be my new favorite panel. Don't forget to check out the So Many Quilty Things Itsy website listed in the description below. If you'll use the coupon code, you can get 15% off all quilting and sewing apparel. Okay, so let's cover the supplies. I use my acrylic square rulers by Creative Grids. Creative Grids is my favorite brand to use for rulers simply because I can see the numbers better. You're going to need a rotary cutter. Now this is a good tip, I use a rotary cutter. This rotary cutter is only used for crafts. So when you see me cut foam board or cardboard or something other than fabric, don't panic. I don't use this one to cut fabric, it's just my craft rotary cutter. And I just know that my zebra rotary cutter is my craft rotary cutter. And then of course you'll need a rotary cutter for your fabric. You'll need foam board. I just purchased this at my local Walmart. It comes in a big sheet. It's 20 by 30 inches, and I can get a 14-inch and a 16-inch board out of one piece of this cardboard. Or you could actually get 6 if you're just doing the 10-inch. Now, I use the Gorilla Spray adhesive. I really like this. I think it adheres well. And you can use this for fabric. Now, please don't confuse this with 505 temporary adhesive spray for fabric. This, I would not recommend this for basting a quilt or a quilt project. So I just wanted to clarify that. And as always, be sure to read the instructions on the can. When I go to use this, I definitely take it outside because you need to be doing this in a well-ventilated area. I use painter's tape. You'll need some scrap batting, and then you're going to need several 2.5-inch strips. Now here is another tip. If I'm making a design board that is 10 inches or smaller, I only need 1 2.5 by the width of the fabric strip. So this is 2.5 by the width of the fabric, selvage to selvage. Now, if you're making anything over a 10-inch size design board, you're going to need to have 2 strips of the same fabric, and you're going to need to piece those together. And just a note on the batting, I do prefer to use white batting. I think it helps the block show up better, and I don't like, I just want a white background when I'm putting blocks on there. Now you can use strips from your scrap bin, you can use strips from an old jelly roll, you can pull fabric from your stash and cut 2.5-inch strips from your stash if you want. Now, I do use spray starch. It's optional. I don't typically use spray starch when I'm quilting, but I do like to spray this really heavily and let it dry before I use it because it makes it stiffer, and I think it's easier to do the design boards when this is a little bit stiffer. Of course, you're going to need an iron and an ironing board, and then you're going to need some glue sticks and some hot glue. Okay, I have a special tip for you on how to keep your design boards clean at the very end of the video, so be sure to watch to the end of the video. Okay, now I want to first show you how I prepare the strips of the fabric. First of all, I take this outside, I put it on my picnic table, and I spray this heavily with this, the Faultless Heavy Hold Spray Starch, and I drench it. Then I bring it in, I put it on some hangers, and I just hang it up to dry here in the house. So I do that well in advance. Now, this is an important part. You need to press your strip well. And then what you're going to do, you're going to first press it in half. So we're just going to start pressing this whole strip right in half. And you do want a good press on that piece. Alright, then you're going to open it up so that the wrong side is facing up, and you're going to press, you're going to fold the fabric just to the fold line. So you're going to fold it like in a fourth, basically. And we're going to give that a good crisp press. And we're going to do that on both sides. Okay, so once you have that pressed nice and flat, you're going to take it to the sewing machine and you're going to sew. You can either do a zigzag strip right down the middle, or you can do two straight lines, one on either side of the strip. Now, you want to do these close to the middle there. I've actually done it both ways before, so you do just whichever one you prefer. Okay, so I have sewn down either side. I just used a straight line stitch because my Juki was ready to sew with, so I just have two lines coming down the middle of that, and it's just to hold the flaps down flat. Just makes it a little bit easier to handle when you are glue this on later. Okay, now you're also, whatever scrap piece of batting you use, you're going to want to steam that a little bit. You can steam it, press it, however you want to do it, but you need to get it laying pretty flat and try to get some of those wrinkles out. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our board ready. So I'm just going to cut this with my craft rotary cutter, and you do have to press pretty firm. Okay, and that piece is ready to go. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get the batting ready, and don't forget to press it, and I'm going to show you why. I'm hoping you can see this, but if you don't press your batting, it's going to look really wrinkled like this. I'm hoping you can see that wrinkle on there. I'm not sure if it doesn't show up. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show you that. But let me show you one where after I pressed it. And it just lays really smooth. There's no wrinkles in it like there is on this one. So be sure you steam or press that batting flat. And I like to put the smooth side down. Okay, then I'm just going to take my painter's tape and I'm going to secure this to my mat. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I want the batting to lay really flat on the board. So I want to pull this nice and snug so there's no foldovers in it when I glue it on. Now, at first I thought I could just pull the wrinkles out doing this, but as you could see on that board it didn't. So again, be sure to press or steam this piece of batting so that it lays flat, and it's going to be really flat when you glue it, when it gets glued on. Just going to stretch that out a tiny, tiny bit. Now, I have a setup outside, and I'm going to show you some pictures of my setup. I'm not actually going to go out there and film it because I don't want to take any chances of getting any sticky residue on my camera lens. But I'm going to take it outside, lay it on the little table with the protected piece of, with the trash bag covering up my little table. I'm going to lay it flat. Now, the reason you want to lay it flat when you're outside is because you don't want any glue to accidentally get sprayed onto the other side. So you're going to lay it flat. You're going to take your spray adhesive and you're going to spray it on really good, being sure to get all of the corners. And I'm going to run outside and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the spray adhesive on the other side here. I'm just going to center it, lay it down, and press it down good. Now, I always cut my batting 2 inches bigger than my board. Now, you may think you don't need that, and if you want to go smaller, fine, but 2 inches is what works well for me. I'm going to take my fabric rotary cutter, and I'm just going to trim off this extra. And then there you have it. It's trimmed off nice and even with the foam board. So I wanted to show you why I use the spray adhesive versus just hot gluing the batting down around the edges. This is a design board that I made really early on, and I just glued the edges of the board and just put the batting on. And this batting is, it's loose. You can pull it up and it moves around. But when you adhere it down, you can't pick that up. It's not loose. It's down on there flat. So that's why I like to use the spray adhesive versus just gluing around the edge of the board to apply the batting. Okay, so we're going to start getting this glued on. Now, I am going to cut just one end of this off. And I am simply going to start gluing this right on to the board. Alright, and I'm just going to go all around the edge. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I'm going to just put a bead of glue right along here, and I'm just going to start applying this to the board. And I like to use these protective silicone fingertip protectors. Okay, so that's going to overlap a little bit, so I'm just going to cut that off and fold a little bit of the edge down. And I'm just going to do a really good finger press right there. Okay. Just going to press that right down there. You just fold that end down just so you don't have any raw edges. Okay, then we're just going to start doing this on the back. We're going to put a big bead of glue there. We're going to press it down good all the way across. Smoothing it down nicely. And I get the corners just flat. Okay, so you're just going to keep going all the way around here. You may have to go back and touch up those corners just a tad, just to be sure they're laying perfectly flat. Just be careful with the glue and don't get too much at a time. Okay, and then there you have it. Just a neat little design board. Now the last tip I wanted to show you, you can see how dirty these design boards get. They catch lots of pieces of thread and little pieces of fabric. So this is my final tip for this video. Just take your lint roller and clean them. Then you have a perfectly clean, white design board. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Please share with a friend. And as always, leave a comment. I love to get the comments and I try to reply to each and every one. So until next time, have fun quilting.